Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are here with Austin from Ohio, and today is Friday, September 2nd, 2022. And I am back. I'm back from a long, ridiculous, unfortunate, unwarranted, just flat out, there's no words to explain, suspension. Now, what happened was, well, first let me tell you how to get a new recording app. As you can see, it's now blue instead of orange, completely different app. I'm trying to get used to it. It's relatively the same thing, but it's also a little bit different. I'm not sure like if it's gonna work, but the sound works on it, and the other one, it's just, I have no idea. I think they found out that it was me using that app and something. No, not really. I think it was just technical difficulties with agreements between the app providers and all this stuff, but you don't want to hear about that. Anyway, so the suspension that I was on, they went back a whole year, September of 2021, and they took down a video and they suspended me for it, right? And then 2 days ago, I get an email, 2 a.m., says that they took down another video from October of 2021. Why are they going all the way back on my videos and taking them down from a year ago? Are they just sitting there, just some nerd in front of a computer, going all the way back on my videos looking for any little thing to suspend me for? So I am on very, very thin ice on this channel, which reminds me, I will provide a link, but I do have a backup channel. It's Austin from Ohio 2. No spaces, exactly the same as this one, but you have to just put the 2 at the end. I'm going to provide a link. You'll see my logo. It's literally the same exact thing. Haven't used it in a while because I haven't had to, but there's significantly less subscribers on there. I think there's 1360 on that one, and there's 1710 on this one. So it's a good 400 people that, recently came to my channel that would like to hear what I have to say. And if I post over there, then they're not going to see it and all that stuff. But I am happy to be back. I will say that. I almost did a live if I couldn't figure out this recording stuff. I literally almost sat here at 10 p.m. Eastern time and did a live stream. I'm sure a lot of you would have been there because you're probably awake. But anyway, enough with the pleasantries. Let me just get into this. Well, first let me say, everything is literally just accelerating at a pace in which we could not have foreseen. I mean, we knew that they were, picking it up and just moving right along, but there's no way that anybody could have seen how fast this stuff has been moving. I mean, we went from, these certain things are far off in the future to, states are now starting to look into banning gas vehicles. When did you think you would live in a world where they would ban gas vehicles? And they will be illegal. It will be illegal eventually to have a gas-powered vehicle. But anyway, we'll get to that. World Economic Forum pushes digital ID system that will determine access to services. This is one of those conspiracy theories, right? One of those ones that we said was going to happen. And then people were like, nah, that's insane. You're crazy. You people and your conspiracy theories. Go put your tinfoil hat back on and hide in your house. Says the people that hid in their house for a year with a mask on, and even from their own family. But I better mind my P's and Q's. I really better mind myself, because it's not going to be pretty if I keep talking the way I want to. Everything seems to be running pretty smooth, I would say, so not too bad. But anyway, we knew this was coming. I mean, how could you not? They told us about this. For years, they've been telling us they want to get everybody on a worldwide digital identification system, blockchain digital identification system, so you can be, well, as Bill Cooper used to put it, chained to a computer, enslaved for the rest of your life. There's no other way to put it. The digital ID system proposes monitoring online behavior, purchases, biometrics, and more. Well, gee, that sounds like it's going to go hand in hand with the worldwide social credit system that they're going to have. You can literally see it in everyday life now. You can see the agenda taking shape. And most people, I feel like people know, but they just don't care. Which is even worse than them just not knowing. Knowing and not caring and not knowing are two different things. Two vastly different things. The World Economic Forum, an international organization that works to, quote, shape global, regional, and industry agendas, recently published its latest dystopian proposal, a far-reaching digital ID system that will collect as much data as possible on individuals and then use this data to determine their level of access to various services. This digital ID proposal is outlined in a report titled Advancing Digital Agency, the Power of Data Intermediaries, and builds upon a digital ID framework that the WEF has published previously. For whatever reason, the people at the helm of this thing, they put the World Economic Forum in charge of this current operation. I'm not sure why, but they did. I mean, it's in conjunction with other agencies and things of that nature, but I don't know why they would put the World Economic Forum at the forefront like that. Anyway, under this framework, the World Economic Forum proposes collecting data from many aspects of people's everyday lives through their devices, telecommunications networks, third-party service providers, as in your internet company, your cable company, whoever, actually your electric company. So they're going to force you to have these certain things, like they already force people to have electricity, basically, at least where I'm from. And then they're going to use it and weaponize it so they can do whatever they're going to do. The World Economic Forum suggests this data collection dragnet would allow a digital ID to scoop up data on people's online behavior, purchase history, network usage, credit history, biometrics, names, national identity numbers, medical history, travel history, social accounts, e-government accounts, bank accounts, energy usage, health stats, education, and more. So literally, every aspect of your life. I will not be part of that. And I am totally okay with that. I am perfectly fine with that. Because I know what's coming. I know what these people have planned and what they want for the world. And you don't want to live under the type of world that they want for all of us. Once the digital ID has access to this huge, highly personal data set, the WEF proposes using it to decide whether users are allowed to own and use devices. Think about that. Also, well, open bank accounts, carry out online financial transactions, conduct business transactions, access insurance treatment, book trips, go through border control between countries or regions, access third-party services that rely on social media logins, file taxes, vote, collect benefits, and more. Think about that. The World Economic Forum is proposing using this digital ID system to decide whether users are allowed to do anything. That's a literal world government. But it's more of a governing on an individual level through the ether. This is from their strategic intelligence on their website, the World Economic Forum. And whenever this came out and people were talking about it and they brought this up and were like, hey, this is coming, here's their entire plan right here, just open for you to see, and you can see where it's all interconnected, you can see all the different facets of it and all this stuff, and people still didn't listen. They still put their head in the sand. Which really baffles me, actually. Like, how could you not care about what happens in your life and together our collective lives? Because this stuff affects future generations. These people tell their children and their grandchildren they love them. But how? How can you love your grandchildren and your children or whoever, your family, and not care about something like this that affects them so greatly? I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Anyway, in this Advancing Digital Agency, the Power of Data Intermediaries report, the WEF positions this digital ID framework as part of the solution to a trust gap in data sharing. Oh, I'm sure there is a trust gap. And notes that, I cannot say that, VPs, which were mandated across the world during the situation, do by nature serve as a form of digital identity. Huh. Well, now we see the reason for it, right? Exactly what we said it was going to be used for. Hello, wake up, sheeple, wake up. Jeez. This stuff literally just flies right off at people. We tell them it's going to happen because they tell us it's going to happen and we see it. So we tell people, they make fun of us, and then it happens and they're like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll accept this. That sounds like a good idea. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to be so safe. The World Economic Forum also praises the way that VPs have allowed governments to harvest data from their populations without notice and consent. At a collective level, data is an incredible public health asset. The United Kingdom government in particular has acknowledged this and suggested that anonymization, pseudonymization, and data shielding techniques could be harnessed in controlled environment to allow for the reuse of highly sensitive data. In such cases, notice and consent is not required per se for the reuse of data, but the intermediary processes the data undergoes must be done in a controlled environment so that the findings of the data set are made available rather than the data itself. You guys understand that? That's insane. They're bypassing consent. They don't need it. You won't even realize it, so you don't have to give consent because you're not going to know about it. So, consent's a thing of the past. Good Lord Almighty in heaven. What is happening? Additionally, the WEF provides a specific example of how digital IDs could be used to authenticate user by using fingerprints, password, or identity verification technology, and decide whether they should be granted access to a bank loan by judging their profile, which may include biometrics, name and national identity number, and history, which may include their credit, medical, and online purchasing history. Woo! Oh man. The WEF goes on to suggest that digital IDs will allow for the selection, of preferences and the making of certain choices in advance, and ultimately pave the way for automated decision-making, where trusted digital assistant automates permissions for people and effectively manages their data across different services to overcome the limitations of notice and consent. What? So this is just going to make all your decisions for you. Oh man, if Orwell or any of the people that have warned about this were alive today, they would be like, first of all, told ya. Second of all, wow. I don't even think they saw how vast and deep and multifaceted this thing would be. This is artificial intelligence at its best. This push for invasive digital ID system from WEF follows it proposing other similar surveillance systems, such as turning your heartbeat into a digital ID. Through this situation, the World Economic Forum has consistently advocated for VPs and digital ID. And people thought that they cared, right? They care so much about us. When are you going to learn? When are you going to learn? Beyond these specific proposals, the WEF is infamous for its globalist and transhumanist agendas, such as the Great Reset, which proposes that people will own nothing and be happy, and the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which, according to WEF founder and chairman Klaus Schwab, will lead to a fusion of our physical, digital, and biological identities. Governments and private corporations are increasingly embracing digital IDs. Some governments are also pushing a similar notion. Social credit-style apps that monitor citizens' behavior and reward them for engaging in state-approved actions. Holy Mother of God on earth and in heaven at the exact same time. This is incredible. This is literally incredible. That it has gone this far. Ever since the false pretense that I'm not allowed to discuss because I'm on thin ice, but the false pretense that was foisted upon the entire world, you know what I'm talking about, literally allowed them to never let a good crisis go to waste, and they aren't. Oh, they are riding this thing so... Oh, and they switched, too. They switched to climate change. I'm just going to say it until I get suspended for saying it, and then I won't say it anymore. Yep, it's not about, the previous situation. It's all about climate change now. And they can ride that thing for decades. Literally, because they could just keep, doing what they're doing. Moving on. Okay, speaking of digital identities. Here are 96 stories about digital identity. So this is a lot further along than people think. It really is. It's not something that they're, and if anything has been taught to us in the past 3 years, is that when they start talking about something openly, they've already been implementing it for a while. Greece reports uptake of digital ID cards and driving licenses. America First Credit Union lets customers authenticate banking transactions with digital driving license. Colombia to let citizens use digital ID for contactless cross-border travel in South America. France, digital ID version of their health insurance card to their smartphone. Finland. So it's literally all these different countries in the world. So think about it. We already have this world government. All they have to do is make sure that it's secure. Then they can tell everybody about it. But right now we're going by country names still. Because they still don't want to arouse suspicion. They still don't want people, rising up in mass and being like, hey, you got to back off. 4 in 10 businesses are planning to upgrade to a mobile-ready contactless access control solution. Where do people find out what they... I shouldn't say that. Where do people find out what they took? The thing. United Kingdom government implement contactless digital border. 500,000 U.S. students add NFC digital campus card to Apple Wallet or Google Pay. These people have no idea. They have no idea. Google begins rolling out its multifunction mobile wallet in 39 countries. I mean, the list goes on. It's just, I'll provide links so you guys can come on here and check it out. But there's 96 stories. They've been at this for a while. They literally wrote about it in Fourth Industrial Revolution and the Great Reset. And a bunch of other, publications, reports, and books and all that stuff. But, we're all just insane and we have no idea what we're talking about. We're just those pesky conspiracy theorists, right? Yeah. They don't know what they're talking about. These people. They're crazy. Yeah, but we're, the only group of people who accurately have predicted every single thing that has happened. And we really shouldn't take pride in that because it's not a good thing. Like, I literally wish that I was wrong. When I talk to people at work and whatnot or in my life, and I tell them, like, I wish I was wrong. I wish that I was some crazy guy just saying these things. But that's not the case. I'm sure many other people feel like I do. Because it's really overwhelming is what it is. They're coming out and they're actually just making fun of us because nobody believes us. Then they come out and, implement exactly what they said they were going to, that we tried warning people of, and then the social engineering has been immaculate. That's an appropriate word for it. They've rolled this thing out so perfectly over the last few decades, even the last century or so. They have done such a good job at setting these blocks in place, like building a brick house. Each brick was laid perfectly. We just happen to have been alive during, the final touches. But will you live in that house is the real question. Moving on. Okay, something that goes hand in hand with exactly what we were just talking about is this. Think tank launches technical sandbox exploring United States central bank digital currencies. There's a chapter in the book, The Great Reset. It's called The Fate of the US Dollar. Give it a read if you got the book. Reread it. This is what's going to happen. They couldn't just come out with this one world digital currency and say, hey, this is what we're doing now. Too many people would, be suspicious of that and be like, whoa, there's no way. We're not going to stand for this. So what do? They have all these different, what are they called? Cryptocurrencies. What is it? Bitcoin and the one that starts with an R, and there's another one that starts with like a Z, and there's a bunch of them. And they claim they're decentralized and all this stuff and whatever, but it's impossible. They're numbers on a screen. There's nothing tangible there. And who controls the numbers on the screen? Who controls the screens? Who controls the grid? Who controls all that? There you go. That's how easy that was. I never bought into any of that stuff. Even back whenever people were, buying into Bitcoin and all that. No, I was like, no. But they get enough people to, go to these digital currencies and all this, and they get enough people to accept it. So then later on, they can either consolidate all of them, or they can make the other ones illegal and say you have to go to this one now, or you just don't eat. And that seems to be the route we're going. A United States think tank has launched a technical sandbox aimed at advancing the exploration of a potential United States central bank digital currency. Notice how it's not plural, it's singular. In a Wednesday tweet from Digital Dollar Project, the organization said the new program would explore technical and business implementation questions revolving around a U.S. central bank digital currency. The organization noted that the initial participants of the sandbox include crypto firm Ripple, that's the one, financial technology company Digital Asset, software platform Nox Networks, and banking solutions firm MTech. The Technical Sandbox program aims to give the federal government, policymakers, and private sector a clearer understanding of how potential CBDC would be rolled out. This includes potential implications to retail and wholesale and international use cases such as cross-border payments. You know, they never would have been able to get away with this stuff if the Federal Reserve was not a thing. People back then would have been like, no, I got gold and silver. I have tangible materials from the land that's actually worth something. Not a piece of paper with words on it and a little bit of ink. But this is even worth less than that piece of paper. Because at least you could take a dollar bill or even a $100 bill and burn it for heat for 5 seconds. What can you do with numbers on a screen? Nothing. Power goes out. Where's your money at? That's literally all you have to do. But people won't consider that because they don't think it can happen. Ask yourself, why hasn't the power grid been upgraded? Especially in the United States. Ah, yeah, see, makes sense. Makes sense. Jeez. The U.S. Federal Reserve has yet to decide whether or not it will implement a CBDC, but has been exploring the potential risks and benefits that come with them. Yes, they have. They've decided. Come on. Come on. On January 20th, it released a discussion paper examining the pros and cons of CBDCs, but neglected to give any hints about its future plans. Of course. Of course. The paper suggested that CBDCs could act as digital money, free from credit and liquidity risks, improve cross-border payments, help preserve the dominance of the U.S. dollar, promote financial inclusion, and extend public access to safe central bank money. What a crock of... what a crock. Potential risks found included in a changed U.S. financial system, more severe bank runs for other forms of money, reducing the power of monetary policy, operational resilience, and difficult balance between transparency and safeguarding consumer privacy rights. What? Safeguarding consumer privacy rights? Did we not just read in the last article that everything's going to be connected to this digital identity system? This goes hand in hand with that. This is their new world order that they've wanted for so long. And of course you can't have an article like this without referencing China, right? Meanwhile, China's own CBDC, digital yuan, is quickly being rolled out across the country, while the same is occurring in Nigeria with the Naira. The Bahamas and countries of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union have also launched CBDCs, while Russia has set to roll out its own in 2024. The FedNow service, an instant payment service set to be launched mid-2023, aims to begin technical testing in September, according to a Monday press release. FedNow is seen as a step toward an eventual CBDC. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. Davis Wright Tremaine, LLP, partner Alexandria Steinberg Barrage, former FDIC policy expert, tweeted her support for the program on Wednesday. Barrage suggested that regardless of what your views are on a U.S. CBDC, pilot programs and data are essential when evaluating new tech. So basically, she's going on about what was just said. The Technical Sandbox program is set to begin in October. That's kind of weird, actually. Remember that. Guys, remember that sentence right there. The Technical Sandbox program is set to begin in October, with cross-border payments being the initial focus for the early participants. That actually makes a lot of sense. It just occurred to me. That's crazy. The program is set to be released in 2 separate phases, including educational phase and a pilot phase. During the educational phase, providers and participants will seek to understand the technology from both the functional and business perspective. While in the pilot phase, the focus will be on identifying and testing specific ways in which CBDCs can be utilized. They have already done all this. They've literally already done all this. I'm not even joking. But remember where it says this is supposed to start in October. Now let me show you something. All right. Good old Pope Francis instructs Vatican entities to move all funds to Vatican Bank by September 30th. What's going on? They're getting ready for something huge. You could feel it in the air. Like something is about to go down. I really hope that I am wrong in saying that. I really do. But just look at all the big players making these big moves right now. With these certain dates. Like end of this month, beginning of next month. What better time to pull something like this right before the winter? According to Francis Rescript, financial and liquid assets held in banks other than the IOR must be moved to the Vatican Bank within 30 days of September 1st, 2022. Pope Francis has ordered that the Holy See and connected entities move all financial assets to the Institute for Works of Religion, commonly known as the Vatican Bank. The Pope's Rescript, issued August 23rd, clarifies the interpretation of a paragraph in the Constitution of the Roman Curia. Predicate Evangelium, promulgated in March. According to Francis Rescript, financial and liquid assets held in banks other than IOR must be moved to the Vatican Bank within 30 days of September 1st, 2022. Could it be because the Vatican Bank will be safe from whatever's happening or whatever's coming? And they have 110 employees, 14,519 clients, blah, 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 blah. Though commonly called a bank, the IOR is technically a financial institute with no branches, working within Vatican City-State to provide services to clients, which include the Holy See and connected entities, religious orders, clergy, Catholic institutions, and Holy See employees. And they saw a number of clients decline. Don't really need to know that. Really, on this one, all you need to know is that the Pope is moving all of the money to this place before the 30th of September. And then the beginning of October is when that sandbox for the CBDC is supposed to start. Huh. Okay, let's see. What other thing is important in here? The decree will force Holy See institutions, including Secretariat of State, to move their financial assets to the IOR by the end of September. The Secretariat of State, known to have had accounts in Swiss financial institutions, including Credit Suisse, I think I said that right, through which the controversial London building investment was initially carried out. Article 219, paragraph 3 of the new Curial Constitution says the execution of financial transactions referred to in, Suisse 1 and 2 is carried out through the Institute for the Works of Religion. The financial transactions described in paragraphs 1 and 2 of the Article 219 are the administration and management of the Holy See's real estate and movable assets and entities entrusting their assets to the Holy See. So, and the Pope's not the only one doing this. There are a lot of people, a lot of entities, that's what we'll call them, moving their money to certain places. What do they know that we don't, that they won't tell us? Because it seems like the world is heading for a worldwide economic collapse. Just look at all the signs. That's literally what it seems like. Every day on the news you hear more. And you look at all the stocks and everything is down. and people are becoming homeless. People, prices are going up. Inflation's at basically an all-time high. I mean, it's insane. But this was the plan, to intentionally, the plan was to make the US dollar the world reserve currency, and later crash that currency, which will in turn crash the entire world economy. That was the only way they could do it. Seems like it's working out for them. Honestly, it really is. It seems like it's working out for them. Because if our economy goes and our dollar goes, so does the rest of the world. And that was the point. And now we see why. Moving on. Okay, here we go. New global CBDC platform could cut payment costs, IMF says. So now they're talking about a worldwide CBDC. This will be your one world currency. Make no mistake about it. The International Monetary Fund remains skeptical about a private system, but is pushing for new ideas on state-backed digital currencies. Staffers at the International Monetary Fund Thursday called for a global platform for cross-border payments and reiterated calls to regulate a crypto sector that officials say is unstable, inefficient, and riddled with fraud. Who do you think promoted this fraud? These frauds, right? The international organization dedicated its quarterly magazine, Finance and Development, to the money revolution, including a contribution from CoinDesk's Michael Casey. But other authors offer scant hope for crypto advocates, with public officials largely favoring state-backed solutions such as central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. I don't know why I can't go over to see all these words. I can't do anything about that. The magazine also touched on health, fiscal policy, and climate change. Oh, of course. They got to touch on all that. That's the agenda. Tobias Adrian, director of the IMF's Monetary and Capital Markets Department, wants the IMF to develop a new system to cut the cost of international transfers. The platform would accept CBDC payments, hold them in escrow, and issue tokens against them, he said. The private sector would be able to extend the uses of the platform by writing smart contracts, Adrian said, promising further papers on how the world's central banks could work together on the project. So what they do is they put all these obstacles in the way of each other on purpose. And then they say, wait, I got a better idea. Let's just merge them all into a one world type of thing, because it'll be easier and we can just get rid of all these roadblocks. The ones that they set up in the first place. Problem, reaction, solution. On a large scale, on a small scale. That's what they do. They're doing all this work, but they literally lose in the end. They are so deceived, it's not even funny. They think they're going to have some privilege and some high office and this and that, but you only get 42 months. That's it. After that, you are done. Cooked. Cast into the lake of fire you will be. Figures published by the IMF suggest that about 97 countries are researching, testing, or deploying a CBDC, raising the question about how the different CBDCs would work together to enable cross-border payments, a process that would be costly and unreliable under the current traditional finance system known as correspondent banking. So see, literally what I just said. In March, a project that included Australia and South Africa concluded. Cross-border CBDC platforms are technically viable, but officials have been more skeptical about the potential use, I'm sure, of private crypto firm taking over the reins. The IMF's own awareness of Bitcoin is now echoed by other international bodies such as Bank for International Settlements, the Switzerland-based body made up of the world's major central banks. Any legitimate transaction that can be carried out with crypto can be accomplished better with central bank money. Well, I'm sure it says digital. I literally can't go over to see the word. So I'm just guessing. BIS General Manager Augustin Carstens wrote in article published Thursday, crypto is neither stable nor efficient. Its participants are not accountable to society. Frequent fraud, theft, and scams have raised serious concerns about market integrity. Aha! They're forming the narrative to outlaw crypto or merge it with a worldwide central bank digital currency that there will be no more fraud. There will be no more theft, except from, us to you. We love you. We care about you. We're not going to rob you. These people have been robbing us forever. They rob us as a matter of policy, just like they lie as a matter of policy. They're speaking with forked tongue all the time. These concerns are echoed by jurisdictions such as Singapore, whose central bank governor Ravi Menon wrote that private cryptocurrencies, I don't know what that, see, I literally can't go over, I'm trying. It's not doing anything. Which Bitcoin is probably, I hope this doesn't crash my recording app. Probably the best known, fail as money. But on repeated previous promises to impose further restrictions on people's access to crypto, he said the case for CBDC that could be used by ordinary citizens is not compelling for now. But with jurisdictions such as Japan and US and European Union all drafting new laws, the plethora of national and regional laws on crypto is starting to cause concern, as incompatible regulations could deadlock the global financial system. The worry is that the longer this takes, the more national authorities will get locked into differing regulatory frameworks. Aditya Narain, Deputy Director of IMF's Monetary and Capital Markets Department, wrote in a paper. He called for a global response to be coordinated, consistent, and comprehensive to cover all actors and aspects of the crypto ecosystem. So literally, exactly what I just said. They set it up this way on purpose so they can later come in with this. I hope people understand that. And as always, I'm not talking to you guys like my regular listeners. You guys know. Of course you guys know. I'm talking about the fool that comes across this video to try to talk some kind of shit on me because I'm sitting here telling you the truth about something. Oh, that's never going to happen, Austin. No, you're just some 28-year-old from Ohio. And no, man. I'm sorry to tell you that, but no. My credibility is good enough. That's what I would define it as. So you already know this is coming. One day they're going to be like, hey, no more cryptocurrencies because there's fraud, theft, all these roadblocks, this and that. We need a new world cryptocurrency system. Moving on. Okay, this article is from the spring, and this is World Government Summit. Are we ready for a new world order? There's that phrase. You know, the one that doesn't exist. The organizers here are nothing if not ambitious amid a global inflection point. Art Moore. Considerable attention recently has been drawn to the World Economic Forum's Great Reset initiative, which regards the situation as an opportunity to accelerate the globalist objective of increasing national sovereignty for international governance. Oh boy. A lesser-known entity, the starkly named World Government Summit, met this week in the ultra-modern Gulf Emirate Dubai, which is part of the United Arab Emirates. In 2022, meeting opened Wednesday with British journalist and CNN Abu Dhabi-based anchor Becky Anderson asking, are we ready for a new world order? Anderson said the organizers here are nothing if not ambitious for tackling the subject, warning that the world has hit an inflection point. Yeah, the inflection point that they have contrived. But okay, we'll go ahead and act like this is all accidental and you're just responding to it rather than doing exactly what you set out to do in the first place. Okay. We're currently living in a unique age of uncertainty and volatility in global affairs, she said, referring to the twilight zone that was the situation. She described the objective of the opening discussion. In the U.S.-led multilateral system created post-World War II to manage international relations, so the world would never see and experience the same chaos and disorder of a world war, is it anything like fit for purpose? And if not, what's the alternative? And the World Government Summit organization describes itself as a global, neutral, non-profit organization dedicated to shaping the future of governments. I'll say. Okay, it was founded in 2013 by Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Vice President of the Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates and the ruler of Dubai. The summit and its various activities explores the agenda of the next generation of governments, focusing on harnessing innovation, technology to solve universal challenges facing humanity, the website description states. So basically the same crap that the World Economic Forum, United Nations, Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations, Bilderberg, all of them. Pretty much the same kind of crap they spew. The organization says that since its inception, it has championed the mission of shaping future governments and creating a better future for humanity. The 7 previous annual meetings of the summit have successfully established a new model to collaborate on an international playing field to inspire and enable the next generation of governments. The summit is now poised to scale new heights of excellence and inclusivity. There's one of those Agenda 2030 words. Okay, let's see, blah, blah, blah. Using social media as a tool for civic engagement, of course. Among the speakers featured at past summits were President Barack Obama, WEF founder Klaus Schwab, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, and billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk. Yeah, the guy that people seem to think is all about freedom for us. He attends the World Government Summit. The dude was a Klaus Schwab young global leader. Come on. That guy has controlled opposition if I've ever seen it. He's worse than Alex Jones. And our current president, Mr. Good Old Joe Biden, says, a new world order, and we've got to lead it. At a meeting earlier this month in Washington of the Business Roundtable Lobbying Organization, President Biden used the term New World Order as he discussed the Russian invasion of Ukraine and major changes taking place globally. Quote, now's the time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it, and we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. He stuttered right there where he says, there's going to be a new world order out there. Again, the one that doesn't exist. Apparently, according to what people tell us. The Independent newspaper of London reported Biden has inadvertently drawn attention of the conspiracy theorists with remarks he made at the end of his speech about the implications of Russia's assault on Ukraine. How can you sit there and say that Biden drew the attention of conspiracy theorists in the same sentence as you say New World Order? Wouldn't that make us, the quote conspiracy theorists, wouldn't that make us at least conspiracy realists? But anyway, the paper said the New World Order conspiracy theory dates back decades. The British stated that the theory holds that a nefarious elite led by the UN and other shadowy forces is planning to install a single transnational global government via the use of force, possibly with the involvement of U.S. agencies, including FEMA, which some believe is preparing to put Americans in concentration camps. Hello? And this is what they do. They come out and they put something like this in here. So basically they say these things because it makes people think oh, if they're coming out and saying this, and then that can't be what they're talking about up there, because they just came out and said that they basically weren't, that it was a conspiracy theory. How naive you have to be to believe something like that. However, regardless of what Biden meant when he used the term, we all know what he meant. He's used it many times before. His administration is an advocate of the World Economic Forum, adopting its term, Build Back Better, which captures the idea of the Great Reset of capitalism and the world order in the aftermath of the situation. After the November 2020 election, WND former Secretary of State John Kerry and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the World Economic Forum panel that Joe Biden presidency would help propel the Great Reset plan. The notion of a reset is more important than ever before, Kerry said. I personally believe we're at the dawn of an extremely exciting time. Yeah, Mr. Skull and Bones over here. Yeah, exciting for you. Finally getting what you wanted the whole time, what your predecessors have been building forever. Kerry, who has since been appointed Biden's climate czar, said that rejoining the Paris Climate Accord by Biden would help drive the Great Reset. But rejoining Paris, not enough, Kerry said. What, so they're admitting here that basically being a climate czar and the Paris Climate Accord is all about the Great Reset and not climate change? Huh. Okay. The Biden administration will focus on every sector of the American economy, he said. There will be a 2035 goal to achieve net neutrality with respect to power and production. Kerry said the U.S. is ready to come back in and help to lead and raise ambition in Glasgow to accelerate this incredible capacity for the transformation in the private sector. Jeez. Last June, the White House published a statement announcing that Biden was set to meet with G7 leaders to discuss ways to forge a more fair, sustainable, and inclusive global economy that meets the unique challenges of our time. What was that? 4 words. Wait. No, 3 words. From Agenda 2030. Okay, so basically, blah, blah, blah. Global minimum tax on multinational corporations of at least 15%. Capitalism as we have known it is dead. Fact checkers have dismissed the Great Reset conspiracy theory, but World Economic Forum and Executive Chairman Klaus Schwab made it clear in June 2020 that the situation should be exploited as an opportunity to advance the globalist agenda, promoted by his Davos conferences, which have pushed for numerous proposals. Such as worldwide carbon tax to redistribute wealth and shift sovereignty from nation states to global entities. Yeah, it's all in the book. It's literally all in the book. The book is a manifesto. I've read it, and I want to read it again, but I'm currently letting somebody at work borrow it. I really hope that he's understanding exactly what it's saying, because it's all pretty ironclad. Okay, Schwab wrote, the world must act jointly and swiftly to revamp all aspects of our societies and economies, from education to social contracts and working conditions, and bring about a great reset of capitalism. At the 2021 Davos meeting, Fortune 500 CEO affirmed World Economic Forum's assertion that capitalism as we have known it is dead. Oh, but I thought they didn't want to destroy capitalism. I thought that's what those pesky conspiracy theorists have been saying all along. Oh, I must be some kind of lunatic. Okay, New World Order based on solidarity. 1 year ago, Pope Francis called for a New World Order in a book titled God and the World to Come. We know he's not talking about God the Father. He's talking about God their Father. He described the new order as a shift from financial speculation, fossil fuels, and military buildup to a green economy based on inclusiveness. Which literally means, like, instead of bringing everybody else up to the higher echelons of society, like the people that, are best off, they're going to bring everybody else down to the poorest of the poor. This is what communism does. This is what all of it does. Socialism, just in general, totalitarianism, authoritarianism, Leninism, which is a form of communism, Marxism, all of it, fascism. After the situation, the Pope said in an excerpt of the book released by the Vatican, the world will never be the same again. We knew that. We knew that. Francis said justice can be healed by building a new world order based on solidarity, studying innovative methods to eradicate bullying, poverty, and corruption, with all working together, each for their own part, without delegating and passing the buck. That literally reminds me of communism. I forget how the saying goes, but it's like, how's it go? Something about each does his own part for the whole or something like that, but it's worded differently. I'd have to find it. But basically what they're saying is that we will all have to do our parts in order to serve them. He said the world can no longer blithely accept inequalities and disruptions to the environment. The path to humanity's salvation passes through a creation of a new model of development, which unquestionably focuses on coexistence among peoples in harmony with creation, he said. Yeah, these people are obsessed with creation itself. They worship creation, not the creator. There's a big difference in that. You should look it up. Read about it. Read about why they worship creation. It goes back to Luciferianism. It goes back to Osiris, Babylon, all of it. Manly P. Hall literally wrote extensively on the subject. Francis said the dominant speculative mentality of the global financial system must be reestablished with a soul to reduce the gap between those who have access to credit and those who do not. It's time to remove social injustice and marginalization, he said. If we seize the current trial as an opportunity, we can prepare for tomorrow under the banner of human fraternity, which there is no alternative, because without an overall vision, there will be no future for anyone. In his third encyclical, 2020, the Pope declared this situation, I almost said it, proved that the magic theories of market capitalism have failed. I just put a community post up about a political cartoon written in like the 1920s where it said, like the third one was blame capitalism for all the mistakes, but it was the communists the whole time who were, going through and creating these problems, just to turn it around and blame it on capitalism itself. And all capitalism is each person having the right to have as much or as little as they want, depending on what they're willing to provide for themselves, without government taking and giving to somebody else. Under capitalism, okay, let's say you created a loaf of bread. You grew the wheat. You tilled the garden. All year you watched it. You did all the work. That is your loaf of bread. I am not entitled to it. I didn't do anything to earn it. I didn't work out there in the heat and whatever else. It's not mine. But under communism, you have, okay, so you have your loaf of bread, you did all the work, right? And I'm over here, let's say that I've done nothing. Or no, actually, I'm going to be the communist government. Let's say one of the other people that's watching this video, or all of you guys, actually, it works even better. Okay, so you have your loaf of bread. Here I come. I take your loaf. I give you back one piece, one slice of bread. And then I say, now you have to divide your bread up equally so you can provide for the people that are less fortunate, that are not equal because of inequality and marginalization and all this stuff. But I got the whole loaf. Come on, it's really not that hard. So basically, it just says the world needs new systems that promote equality and unity. There's a lot of reading left. Oh, no, there's not. I thought there was. Francis asserted it should be clear it's not enough to refine existing systems. He charged that the perverse global economic system keeps the poor on the margins while enriching the few. He opposes a right to property for individuals, contending a social purpose and common good must come from sharing the Earth's resources. In November 2018, as WND reported, progressive filmmaker Michael Moore was claimed Francis told him capitalism is a sin and urged Moore to continue making his left-leaning documentaries. And it's not about the left and the right and all that crap. Those people are nothing. All they do is make sure that we stay in line and things get done that their bosses want done. We've been over this 1,000 times on this channel. Everybody knows what I believe. Moving on. Okay, this is actually the last one that I'm going to bring up. I didn't know we were already over an hour into this. Man, I talk a lot, but I'm the rambling man, right? I was surprised to see this article, honestly. They've been denying geoengineering for so long. They've literally denied it, made fun of us, had everybody else make fun of us, the whole nine, what have you. Then, all of a sudden, here comes Forbes. Geoengineering, injecting aerosols into the atmosphere is untested and dangerous. So they're admitting that it is something. With global temperatures rising, policymakers are increasingly desperate for easy solutions to climate change. Again, climate change that they've caused by geoengineering. Ooh, that statement alone is probably going to get this video taken down. Yeah, well. A report released by the Council on Foreign Relations, we know about them, validates a scientifically and politically controversial hypothesis: man-made solar engineering. Also known as sunlight reflection, this is a process of reflecting sunlight away from Earth to reduce rising temperatures. Two approaches to climate alleviating geoengineering have garnered the most attention: stratospheric aerosol injection and marine cloud brightening. SAI has attracted the most attention as it mimics a volcanic eruption by dispersing man-made aerosols to the atmosphere. It would be causing cooling effect due to the aerosols' reflective properties, while MCB reflects sunlight by spraying salt crystals from the ocean into low-lying clouds. Proponents argue that geoengineering in the form of SAI and MCB can act as a stopgap to ensure the world's impacts of global warming are avoided, while the economy reaches net zero. Huh. What a weird statement. They substantiate this claim by insisting that geoengineering is relatively cheap, politically practical, and scientifically sound, and may also provide humanity with the critical time we may otherwise not have to address climate change. However, skeptics currently dominate the debate on geoengineering for good reason. The process may be cutting edge, but it's fundamentally an untested stopgap at best and may be dangerous at worst. While there have been advances in atmospheric research that suggest geoengineering may reduce, halt, or even reverse the effects of greenhouse gas emissions, these models are admittedly, limited and lack external validity. While some, including Microsoft's billionaire founder, I shouldn't say his name, old Billy Goats, remain exuberantly optimistic, hard science does not currently back up their ideals. Proponents point to costs, indicating that implementing SAI would cost less than $20 billion annually. A small portion of the... Oh no. Stop. We good? Oh, we're good. Oops. Okay, a small portion of the estimated $275 trillion needed to decarbonize the global economy by 2050. Now we see what it's about. Oh, Carol just uploaded something. Everyone's going to be watching that. Nobody's going to watch me. No, I don't care. They'll get to it. Carol's great. She does very good work over there. I've always looked up to Carol. She is a very, very inspiring lady. She's great. The statistic belies how policymakers evaluate spending. It fails to recognize how the risk of spending billions of dollars on untested technology would and should be considered in any cost analysis. Nuclear energy, for example, is expensive. However, it's emissions-free and highly reliable. The dependability of nuclear power makes the cost worthwhile in the long run. Policymakers should remember how pinching pennies now may lead to wasting dollars later. If solar reflection cannot actually lower temperatures, or worse, creates other unintended effects, the cost in the future would be astronomical. And we know what geoengineering has done. I mean, come on. Open your eyes. This is not to mention that human cause of solar reflection gone wrong. Major changes to the global climate could create unlivable conditions, negatively impacting densely populated regions, consequently displacing thousands. Yeah, that's what's going on. Even in a hypothetical scenario where there were absolutely no financial constraints on geoengineering, and it worked as intended without negative externalities, proponents of the technology must contend with moral hazards. There's the potential of being a mirage of solution. If it's cheap and easy solution to climate change, if a cheap and easy solution to climate change exists, politicians will take it, creating a negative feedback loop that inhibits long-term emissions goals. The moral hazard cannot be dismissed with analogies and personal moral hazard arguments made in the past, like seatbelt usage encouraging reckless driving. Individual moral hazards operate far differently than policy ones. On the international scale, geoengineering has all the hallmarks of a disaster. The fraying international frameworks are ill-equipped to handle the delicate cooperative diplomacy that geoengineering would require. Think current climate treaties are cumbersome? The proposed solution to climate change we have chosen cannot be embarked upon unilaterally. It is doubtful that the international consensus can be achieved. And they basically say it's a well-intentioned tool, which it's not a well-intentioned tool. I don't believe that, and neither should you. To alleviate the worst excesses of human suffering due to climate change. Fires, famines, and floods are for all to see. And basically, they must utilize all proven tools for preserving a sustainable climate for ourselves and our children. Again, Agenda 2030. It is also doubtless that geoengineering as a tool is dangerous, untested, and likely to create a set of political moral hazards, making a temporary solution to a permanent problem more dangerous than the problem itself. How crazy has everything gotten, guys? I mean, come on. Everything is insane right now. We're literally living in a 1980s blockbuster dystopian film. That's the only way that I could put it. Except it's like all of them in one. Anyway, I'm hoping that there's sound on this video because I had problems with that in the past. And with that being said, I will make another video, and I'm planning on going live at some point. I'm really trying to get that going. But yeah, let's pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen.